Yes, I can.
Hello.
I
So go
can hear.
ahead.
I can hear you. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. This is Publicity Secretary Sumime. I would be sharing with us here now the agenda for today. Welcome. I hope you have all registered um, for the meeting. We will be starting the day off with recognition of our special guests, speakers, um, the chairman, past presidents, and fellows in the room. That will be done by our president-elect. Our president will then come up to give us, after that recognition, our president will come up and give us his welcome remarks. This will be followed by an introduction of the chairman of the day by the president-elect. After that session, the chairman would then introduce the speaker for today's session. Afterwards, the presentation would then commence. We expect that presentation to run for about 30 minutes. The panelists will then be introduced by our president-elect. This will then be followed by a quick panel review and thought session that will be coordinated by the chairman. So we will then open up for questions and answers, first for those in the room, then our questions online will follow. There will be presentation of gifts and photographs by the president. We will then have remarks by the by sponsors. Announcements will then follow that session, and vote of thanks will be read by our president-elect, and then we will close out with lunch and networking session. So that's how the day will go. I hope you sit tight and get ready to learn something new and network in the process. I'll hand over now to our president-elect to please come up stage and recognize our special guests and dignitaries in the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Pierce. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to our second business and technical meeting in the month of August. I want to especially thank our sponsor for today, First EMP. Thank you very much for taking this up. If you had not sponsored, this wouldn't have happened today. So I thank you very much for that. And all our past presidents, our fellows who are on online and physically present here today, I thank you for making time out to attend today's meeting. In the room with us, we have Pastor Dan Ndefo Efnape, and also a past president of our association. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for coming. And he comes every time. Thank you very much. God bless you, sir. We also have online our president, the president of our association, John Bosco Uche. Thank you for joining. It was meant to be here physically, but unfortunately, he had to quickly travel this morning for an assignment he could not say no to. So, but he's still online to give his opening remark. Thank you very much, Mr. President. We also have Mr. Muyiwa Olawoki online, FNAP. Thank you for joining us. We have, let's clap. It's not easy. It's not easy to be a fellow of this association and still, have to create time at every point in time to join our activities. Thank you, sir. We have Mr. Victor Agbe-Davids, FNAPE. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. We have Dr. Emmanuel Enu, FNAPE, Arrest Adams Awardee and past president of our association. Thank you very much for joining, sir. Mr. Do we have Mr. Wole Shebioba in physically here? Okay. Mr. Wole Shebioba, FNAPE, thank you for joining us. He's here with us. And we have Mr. Folorunsho Karim, FNAPE, online. Thank you for joining. Mr. Alex Taka, FNAPE, past president, thank you for joining us too. So we're about to start now, and I'm really glad that we are having, if you know the number of people online, it's amazing. Even we had more people online before we had this population in here. So it's going to be an interesting session today. And I see the topic is a topical one, and I believe that's the reason we have this population. And I also believe that the speaker and the panelists, the chairman, will do justice to the topic. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. I will come from time to time to recognize our fellows and our past presidents as they should join. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Sit down and enjoy the program. So at this point, I'll call our president to give his opening remark before we continue. Thank you.
All right, confirm Epi, you can hear me clearly?
Very clear.
Okay, thank you very much. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we are back in again for our technical and business monthly meeting, and I'm quite excited. Like the PE said, online, many of our members and associates already logged in online, and I believe, as already mentioned in the room, we also have a good number. I unfortunately had to travel this morning, like the president-elect said. I thought I could stay back and attend this technical meeting before I leave, but I couldn't because something came up. But again, thank God for the hybrid, which enables us to combine this in one go. Let me first say a big thank you to every single one of you in the room and online as well. As you all know, just last week, we just had our 50th anniversary, which is for every single one of us to celebrate. You know, where we had opportunity to celebrate our legacy of excellence, but also looking into the future. So on behalf of the executive committee and the BOT and ACIS, I want to say a big thank you for that active participation, both those that came physically, but also those that joined online. Now, our ideas continue to, find oil and gas, and is in the forum like this that we continue to discuss emerging topics, key issues that will enable us to continue to drive the policies and the technical delivery in this country. And today, like the PE said, the topic is going to be an exciting one. First, EMP have been doing us proud as an indigenous company, doing quite a lot in the shallow water as well. And I'm sure today they will be sharing their story for us to learn. If you look at the profile of the chairman, which I'm sure is going to be read very soon, and the panelists, then there is no doubt in my mind today is going to be an excellent day. Fidel used to be my boss as well in the past and a veteran explorer. And again, Kunle and Oluwatosin are also those that we know in the industry. So I'm quite happy that we have this set of panelists and of course the speaker Adeniyi himself. So I'm anxious to really listen and learn as well. So let me again say thank you for every commitment you've shown to us since the beginning of this year through these technical and monthly business meetings. Just this morning, I was discussing with the president-elect who said, yeah, 2 more to go. We have, September and then October to wrap up before we then get into the conference. So I think it's been quite a good journey and lots of good topics being discussed. And today is not an exception. So let me say that you are spending the best good use of your time by joining this session today. And I can tell you, you will not regret the time you're going to be spending for this meeting today. So on that note, let me once again welcome you and say relax and enjoy the remaining part of the session. And with that, I yield the floor back to the president-elect.
Thank you, Mr. President. So please note that Mr. Fidel He's not only your boss, he was also my boss at some time. So, so we both have him. Yeah. So I want to read the profile of the chairman, Mr. Fidel Onichabo. Thank you very much, sir. I just placed a call to you. I told you this session is one I believe you will not say no to. And immediately he saw the abstract, he just called back and said, I will do it. Thank you very much. Can we give him a round of applause? Now to his profile. Fidel has over 40 years of experience in the oil and gas industry, working in both Nigeria and Malaysia. His diverse background includes technical leadership positions at Shell and Sahara, and executive leadership in Seplat and Salvik, and West African Exploration and Production, WAEP, where he served as a managing director. He has a proven track record of excellent leadership in growing outstanding value for startups. Some career highlights as an explorationist include the discovery of over 500 million barrels oil equivalent from new play concepts he developed, and the publication and presentation of key conventions. Of presentation of key technical papers at the American Association of Petroleum Explorationists, AAPG, annual conventions. He won the Shell Excellence Awards in recognition of his efforts in the initiation and development of a new turbidite play that led to the discovery of a major oil field in Malaysia. As Seplat's pioneer technical general manager, Fidel coordinated the cross-functional efforts that drove organic growth of both oil and gas production by over 500% respectively. Can we clap for him, please? He possesses strong leadership in core E&P business, played an instrumental role on the team that took Seplat to dual public listings on the London Stock Exchange and Nigeria Stock Exchange in 2014. He's a highly motivated, enthusiastic, and inspirational leader with solid business development skills and experience in fundraising from debt and equity investors. Over the years, he has built a vast professional network of relationships and leveraged it to engage JV partners, regulatory authorities, community leaders, and other key stakeholders. In 2016, Fidel founded Fivax Energy Limited, an oil and gas consulting company with experience in technical, commercial evaluation, and advisory services in exploration, development, and production, mergers and acquisition, technical training, and workforce supply. Please join me as I welcome our chairman of today, Mr. Fidel Onichabo, to the podium. Welcome, sir. So at this point, you will read the profile of the speaker. Please come up, sir. So, please, before the chairman takes the mic, please let me recognize Mr. Victor Agbe-Davis again. He's FNAPE and also a past president of our association. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Good morning, everybody. It's my honor and pleasure to chair this technical meeting for obvious reasons, as you have seen that most of my career was in exploration, and it's very exciting to be listening to this success story. So I'm going to read to you now the profile of the presenter today, Adeniyi Sanyaolu. Adeniyi is an accomplished geoscientist with nearly 2 decades of experience in oil and gas exploration and development. He has a strong track record of delivering results within multidisciplinary teams with expertise spanning the evaluation of hydrocarbon fields and prospects across diverse terrains, both onshore and offshore, in key petroleum basins such as Niger Delta, West African Transform Margin, Lower Congo, Chad, and Chaco basins. An alumnus of Obafemi Awolowo University and the University of Leeds, Mr. Sanyaolu holds both undergraduate and postgraduate degrees in geosciences. He currently serves as a senior geoscientist at First E&P, where he plays a dual role within the exploration and development team and the strategy and business development function. In his capacity, he contributes to value creation through a combination of deep technical expertise and strategic insight. As a member of NAPE, he has contributed to several presentations and personally presented a paper at one international conference of the association. Please, may we put our hands for this little guy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for that very kind and generous introduction. I must confess, when I took the mic off you, the first thing I was almost going to say is praise the Lord, because that's all I do when I hold the mic. The president-elect has already introduced the topic for today, so I'll just go ahead to present. Okay. The presentation is in 3 parts. I'll do an introduction. I'll do an introduction, after which I'll go to my case study, then I'll conclude. So for those that have been following events in the industry with regards asset divestment, I would have observed that we've had series of these divestments occurring in episodes. And from my own little observation, there's been some kind of cyclicity to the episodes. So for the purpose of this presentation, I've recognized 3 cycles. And the first one occurred in the early 2000s. It was really engineered by the government of the day to foster or promote the participation of local parties in the operatorship of assets. It was very significant because in this cycle, we had at one go the entry of several indigenous players coming to operate oil and gas assets for the first time. And as you will expect, there were some teething issues, but with time, some remarkable success stories emanated from that cycle. And what you have mentioned are companies like NDPR, now Aradel, Energia, and the likes. Enter the second cycle, you could call that the first wave of asset divestment by the IOCs. And this was really driven by some kind of operatorship challenges in parts of the Delta, and to an extent, portfolio rationalization. And for the divestees, that's the local entities that were going to take over these assets, the enabler for them was a rise in domestic capabilities from a technical and commercial or financial standpoint. I mean, we all know what the technical entails, but for the financial, it has to do with our banking institutions building more capacity to be able to fund some of these acquisitions, either wholly or partially. So what we saw in this cycle was that the IOCs divested relatively mid-sized or to an extent some large assets to indigenous independents. And you would understand my bias when I say this cycle was very successful, because that was the cycle that birthed our company, First E&P, and some of the other indigenous independents you see around today. So for the third cycle, which is the cycle we are currently in, it's still an engineering of the IOCs. What's driving it here? Capital rationalization, maturing assets, and some have even argued that maybe energy transition. The enabler for the divestees still a further rise in capacity. But what we have noticed in this cycle is that the IOCs are now beginning to divest entire portfolios, or what you can call terrain portfolios. And what you have mentioned in this regard are companies like Renaissance, Seplat, and Wando. So what we have observed through these cycles is the fact that the indigenous operators have demonstrated capacity. There's been a scaling up or a transition in the scale of divestments. And then we now see that as a result of that, the output from these divested assets has become very, very critical, or is now of importance to our national life from the standpoint of energy security and also revenue generation. So if I just highlight that point with some statistics, when you look at the biggest producers in the country today, 35% of the top 20 are actually indigenous operators of divested assets. And the contribution from these operators is quite significant. If I just give an example, a company like us, Freshly and P, is now contributing almost 4% of the total national output in terms of production. So, and that's very critical. But perhaps maybe the more important question we should ask is, these outputs from these operators, how well has he impacted our national productivity in this regard? And I'll say this, there are some trends that we need to be mindful of and we need to address. The first one is our reserve growth trend. If you look at it, we've pretty much flattened out for a prolonged period now. We are doing about 30 to 37 billion barrels, and we've stayed in that range for a very long time. The other trend I think we should also be concerned about is the production trend. And for a prolonged period, we've actually been in decline. Yes, we've turned the corner lately, but the magnitude of that turn is not significant enough to be able to offset the prolonged decline we have experienced. So as an advocate of Nigerians having to solve their own national problems, I think we would have to look to indigenous operators to help us resolve some of these issues. And to do that, the indigenous operators will not only focus on optimizing the production of resources they were handed at divestments, but they would have to also look inward and try and grow organically by identifying new opportunities and maturing these opportunities. Like one of my mentors said, it will take a two-pronged approach, focusing on or catering for production for today and production for the future. And just to give an example of what I'm talking about, in our company, Freshly and P, in 2015, we took part in a keenly contested, not election, but a divestment process, during which we emerged operators of 2 shallow offshore licenses. As you can see from the maps on display, that was the status of the prospectivity of the license when we took over operatorship in 2015. But fast forward to today, you can see we've been busy with regards identifying opportunities and maturing them. So just to highlight some of the progress we've been able to make with these assets. First of all, we commenced operatorship in 2015. We still operate that license area, but today has 4 separate licenses following PIA conversion. When we took over operatorship, the asset was not producing. There had never been any production from that asset. And today we are currently producing over 20,000 barrels of oil from that asset. That's from a value realization standpoint. But we didn't stop at value realization. We are also preserving value because the associated gas is being reinjected into a virgin reservoir to support future production once our gas project matures. The other thing we have done, when we took over this asset, Madu, which you see to the northeastern corner of the asset, was the only significant, I would say marginally significant discovery within the asset from an offshore development standpoint. But today we have more than tripled the resource, the discovered resource within the asset. If you also look at the map, you would see that we've also identified quite a number of exploration opportunities colored in yellow. And Songhai, which is our case study, is a good example of value uncovered following serious maturation activities. Now, before I go to my case study, we always say this in NAPE that our ideas find oil and gas. And it's important to share those ideas when we experience successes or failures. And I can tell you that the success of Songhai was pretty much anchored on improvement to the seismic data quality, and also de-risking the opportunity, leveraging the attributes we were able to extract from the improved data. So I'll go to my case study. So the study area is located in PML 275. It used to be formerly within the southeastern corner of the former OML 85. That was before PIA conversion. Terrain is shallow offshore. We are looking at water depth between 30 to 35 meters. Of course, we are the operators. There are two exploration wells that have been drilled within the license. The first one was drilled by the previous operator and it was not really successful. And the second one, the Songhai 2, was the well we just drilled. The play types are essentially structural, and currently there's been no production from the Songhai field as we speak. So just to give us some regional geology information, we are in the shallow offshore depot belt. Structurally, we are in that translational structural belt of the delta. And our block, or this block, is quite close to a major fracture. That's the Charcot fracture zone. And when you look at the map below, that's the major macro structural trend that controls, the prospectivity within that concession. Now, the journey to maturing Songhai actually began when the team went through this incomplete 2-page end of well report that we inherited from the previous operators. As limiting as that report may seem, we were able to extract some very valuable insights that triggered our interest in that area. And I've sort of summarized those points or those insights here. First of all, what we observed was that the well is that Songhai 1 well that was drilled by the previous operator is quite an old well. It was drilled in 1967, so it predated 3D seismic. We also found from the report that the well encountered good reservoirs, but with no zones of hydrocarbon saturation reported. However, this for me as an exploration, would really trigger my interest because there were reports by the mud loggers of hydrocarbon shows within shaly sections. So that was a very critical point for us. Of course, there was a mention of an overpressured section in thick shaly section at greater depths. And there was also this point which we extracted from the end of well reports. That they weren't able to reach some deeper targets, probably owing to the challenges they encountered within the overpressured section. So as a result of this, we saw Songhai as a candidate for further exploration. And we decided to take the opportunity through our structured maturation process. And let me just say this for the benefit of some of our peers in the industry. What we have done with our own maturation process is this. We have adapted it to suit our circumstances as a company and also to suit the kind of, or the peculiarities of the opportunities we have in our portfolio. So you will see that we have various stages, and to get from one stage to the other, you would have to go through a gate. And the requirements for crossing those gates actually get more stringent as you go towards towards the right corner of that chart that you see. And for the volume of work that we did, that's summarized here. I wouldn't go into that detail so that I don't bore us. But then, to commence the maturation, we actually faced some challenges that had to do with data. First of all, the reference well, which is that Songhai 1 well that was drilled in 1967, we didn't have data. You could see the chart here. summarizing the data that I would have loved to have to commence the evaluation. But unfortunately, we're just swimming in a sea of red. Secondly, that's the seismic. We inherited 3D seismic covering that area. And when we looked at the seismic, yes, we saw indications of structure, but then the details were very fuzzy. So we were very challenged. In fact, for the reference well, we did not even know we didn't have the coordinates of the well. We didn't have a survey. So we were very challenged. But then we had to make do with what we have. For the seismic data, yes, we felt the data needed to be improved. I mean, we were challenged. Signal to noise was poor structural definition. Event continuity, as you can see from there, was going to be a challenge. And the data was band limited. Also, we didn't have angle stacks to be able to do some QI to further de-risk the opportunity. As such, a decision was made to acquire new data. And when that decision was reached, quite a number of stakeholders questioned the rationale or the wisdom behind that decision, given we had not produced a single drop of hydrocarbon from the fields. But then the onus is on us as subsurface professionals to actually make the case to relevant stakeholders that you're better off taking investment decisions when you have a good hold or you have a good handle of the subsurface. In essence, you need to characterize your opportunities, to a good extent before you start taking investment decisions. So the leadership of the JV decided to go with us in that decision. Also, I'll just skip because that acquired data, we had to take it through 2 cycles of processing. And of course, for the well data, we were told to approach the relevant authorities, as a then NUPRC, to see if we could get more data. We didn't really make much progress in that regard. So for the acquisition enthusiast in our midst, those are the acquisition parameters as captured in that table. But we also made some choices at acquisition to ensure that we get the kind of results that we needed to do our evaluation. The first was that, contrary to the data we inherited, we had to align our sail direction to be perpendicular to the structural trend, so that was going to help us with the imaging of the faults. And let me just say the structures within the concession. The second one was that we went with a choice of source that would offer us a broader bandwidth. And some of these decisions had cost implication, as you would see. We also went with a longer cable length to image some of those deep opportunities that were mentioned in the end of well report. So following all of this, the BGP prospector, that's that vessel there, sailed across our 2 concessions in 2018, and we acquired about 660 square kilometers of 3D seismic across OML 85. We actually acquired, I think, 920 across our 2 assets. That's across OMLs 83 and 85. And like I said, we took the data through 2 cycles of processing. Now, fast forward to now, you could see that was the legacy data that we inherited from the previous operator. Following the initial processing, we had some gains. At least we could see a definition of the Madu field, which we are currently producing from, and the Songhai area, which was our focus for exploration. And following the reprocessing, this was the data we got. So we made some gains in the areas that we were trying to address, which I mentioned earlier, the signal to noise, structural definition, event continuity, and we had a data with a broader frequency content. Fast forward to now, what that data did for us was that we were able to characterize this opportunity better. And by so doing, we had a good handle of our risk and uncertainties. And in an exploration world, your risk and uncertainties actually translates to your geological chance of success, which for us pre-drill, we were really challenged by various stakeholders. They were asking us, how can your geological chance of success be 69%? That's almost 70%. That's you telling us that for definite we'll find hydrocarbon. But then we were very confident from the kind of evaluations we were able to do from the improved seismic data. For instance, at this level, you understand why the inherited well failed, because that's your anomaly there. And so the team, we weren't going to take any chance. We drilled the very crest of that opportunity. And as you can see here too, we had a better representation. So these low frequency, high amplitude events you see here, actually, when we drilled, we found them to be thick gas sands. So that was our model pre-drill. The Songhai structure in the hanging wall block is actually organized into a twin culmination structure along deep, along strike. And along deep is just a simple rollover structure with some internal faulting. Also, because we now have the improved data, we're able to do more from a QI standpoint. Remember, we didn't even have angle stack data before. So you could see from just a simple colored inversion cube that we generated. This is the eastern culmination which we drilled. You can see the stacking of some relatively sweet spots which we targeted with the well. And we're also able to do some, we're also able to do to generate some volume attributes, which we co-blended to actually generate the sweet spots, or to identify the sweet spots, across the different levels we're targeting. And what I've just captured here is a depiction of some of those levels. So for those that might be interested, the blended attributes here are variance to show you the structural trend, remove bias. It's actually a signal processing attribute that helps to boost your amplitude. And of course, sweetness. I think most people would know what sweetness is all about here. So what did we find when we drilled the well? That's the log, the gamma ray and the resistivity log from the well. We actually encountered those multiple vertically stacked reservoirs that Songhai 1 penetrated but found wet. We penetrated them because, with the insights we got from the seismic, we penetrated the bright amplitudes we had interpreted, and we found them to be oil and gas bearing at various levels. So for our carbon count, we had a gross thickness, pay thickness, of over 1,000 feet and a net of over nearing 900 feet for net. And those are some of the reservoirs, that reservoir, quite extensive, about 15 square kilometer in extent, very good thickness and column height. Same thing for this reservoir here. That's the proven area highlighted in green. We have an appraisal scope here, and we are pretty confident of the outcome of that future appraisal based on what we have seen on seismic, particularly seismic attributes. So when we contrast our pre-drill promise against what we encountered whilst drilling, we practically met all our objectives, and all our predictions, we found them to be as we had predicted. We wanted to expand the resource base of the company by proving up material volumes within that opportunity, and we did just that. And all those reservoir series, we found them to be hydrocarbon bearing. And our risk, which we had identified pre-drill, we were able to come up with suitable mitigations for them. So as I conclude, I would like to just highlight some of the other learnings. So I've shown you that, yes, from a technical standpoint, our success was really anchored on the improvements we were able to make to the 3D seismic data. But then there are other learnings. And I'll start with the first one, intentionality. We were very intentional about growing our business organically. And we showed this by putting our money where our mouth is, by putting in the right investments to actually acquire that data, which really helped us to de-risk the opportunity. The other one was that we employed a structured maturation process with robust assurance gates. The third one is this. I'm very proud to be working with some of the most brilliant minds the industry has to offer in our team. But we don't stop at that, because we have to, as indigenous operators, we have to be mindful of the fact that we don't have the benefits of a research center in Houston or Paris. But then it doesn't mean we don't have that required knowledge in country. There are men and women, some of them ranking members of this association, that have actually paid their dues and they've gathered enough experience and knowledge. And we will do ourselves a huge favor by working with such people, because we will not only enrich the quality of the products that we deliver, but we would also ensure that that rich knowledge base that they have is passed on to the next generation of geoscientists and engineers. And of course, we couldn't have done what we did without the support and collaboration of our partners. And I'm very honored to have one of our team members from NOIMS here. Madam Toyin, thank you for coming. And I don't think I need to dwell on the fact that we used that improved data for our evaluation. So in conclusion, it's quite clear that some of these divested assets actually hold significant, undiscovered potential. And unlocking that potential would actually require a coordinated, strategic approach of technical actions and maybe financial actions. And in First E&P, we have demonstrated this. The Songhai is just an experience of that. Our success has actually helped us to add significantly to the resource base of our company. But aside that, it has also triggered, plans for a gas hub development. And an additional thing that success has done is, if you see those other exploration opportunities that we had identified within the concession, we have, high-graded them and de-risked them to an extent. So I would like to stop here, and I really want to thank NAPI for giving us this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Can we give him another round of applause? And I want those online to also clap for him. I want us to see those claps. You did excellently well. Please have your seat. This is a very rich presentation. No, just sit somewhere there. This is where the chairman will be. This is a very rich presentation. Thank you very much. You see, many of us, indigenous players, we are coming, taking up assets, be it marginal field or divested one. But the first thing that comes to mind is cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. But you can see what data can do. The importance of data cannot be overemphasized. Thank you very much. It's really an eye-opener. Thank you. So at this point, I will bring up our panelists and also bring the chairman back to the podium so that we can start digging deep into the presentation. So let me read the profile of our panelists for today. I'll start with Mr. Kunle Bakare. If you were at the last month technical meeting, you recall that one Mr. Kunle Bakare was the chairman for the day. So this is the same person. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And incidentally, he's also one of the people who delivered this in First E&P. Thank you for your commitments to our association. Kunle Bakare is an active member of NAPI and has over 25 years of industry experience as an exploration geoscientist. He contributed to several exploration projects in the land, swamp, and shallow offshore regions of the Niger Delta and led a team of geoscientists in a successful multi-well, high-pressure, high-temperature drilling campaign, all during his several years of working in SPDC. Kunle is currently the chief geoscientist at MP Limited, a leading indigenous energy company operating mainly in the shallow offshore terrain. He has written and authored several papers presented at NAPI. Kunle takes delight in the mentorship of young professionals. He utilized the opportunities provided by Shell Geoscience Summer School and the regular internships at the office to mold young ones that have today grown to be professors and captains of the industry. Join me in welcoming Mr. Kunle Bakare to the stage. Our next panelist and the first female panelist at our technical meeting this year. Can we clap for her before I read her? Mrs. Oluwatoyin Adesanya is a seasoned solution-driven chief geophysicist with over 2 decades of experience in the oil and energy industry. She has strong professional research skills in geology and geophysical tools, including seismic acquisition, processing, and interpretation for robust subsurface evaluation, field development, and production. She has a deep understanding and expertise across various key petroleum systems, both onshore and the deep water Niger Delta and the lower Congo Basin. She holds a Bachelor's of Science in Geology from the Obafemi Awolowo University, a Master's in Business Administration from the University of Lagos, and an MSc in Petroleum Geoscience from the University of Manchester in the UK. As a member of NAPE, presented a paper on hydrocarbon prediction at one of the international conferences of the association. She's currently the lead geophysicist providing technical services to the group joint venture asset B in NUIMS. She is happily married with children. So please join me to welcome Mrs. Toyin Adesanya to the podium. And our chairman, can you please join us to take over the session? Thank you very much. Okay, you can sit in together. So over to you.
Project.
Yeah.
Slide.
Okay.
Welcome. All right. So I will give a brief remark on the technical presentation and then go ahead to give high-level summary of the key points. And then I will leave it open if there are other, surely, from my other panelists to contribute. So this is a slide I'm showing, which collaborates what Sanyaolu talked about, the growing influence of Nigerian indigenous companies. And it went to details to talk about the 3 cycles of divestment by the IOCs. And you can see the beautiful progress that the first divestment that was thrown up in 2020 produced few successful marginal field operators who have matured into big players now. And you see them going all over to the 2020, and there are no more marginal field operators. And it's very interesting. I'm so proud of these people. Some I have worked with, and others are just friends. But I know very well that there are key factors that I think are overarching to what the presenter has shown as key success factors of adding value to licenses. And that's what I want to show here. So you can see the trend of the contribution from indigenous operators and where the study projects it will be next year. almost 50% of the total production in Nigeria. That is spectacular. This is not something you could have dreamt of 10, 20 years ago. But this trend can even get better if more people, more blocks that are in hands of others will adopt what I'm going to talk about now. So my remark is that apart from technology, technical capacity, maturation process, and all the things that made this Songhai, the initial thing was based on the decision to shoot seismic. I call that a game changer. Now, these companies that I'll call big three for the purpose of this discussion, you can see them from marginal field, they've grown. You can see, I want to demonstrate and prove to you that apart from these factors, I think that overarching factors for such success, and if we need to replicate it in the industry, are responsive leadership and highly motivated workforce. And I don't have the time to explain that to you, but if everybody will know what responsive leadership, what it encompasses. So I think that overarching in the sense that all those things could not bring any fruit if you do not have this in place. And these people in character, people who have dealt with them, you will know what I mean. Responsive leadership and strong, highly motivated workforce. That is what is going to make this trend and beyond to materialize. So my encouragement is for the people who have had such opportunities in these bid rounds, if need be, take the template from Seplat, from First CMP, and from current Renaissance. But as you know, Renaissance is a child of many people, and FCMP is part of it. So there is a type of leadership that engenders success, which encourages or works with very strong motivator. So that's my remark. So when I saw the abstract, I was excited because this is the kind of thing somehow we have experienced. And I'm happy to emphasize on this responsive leadership, because if not, it is not normal to shoot seismic for a small Nigerian company without money to shoot seismic. Even how did it pass? They would think you are talking. I mean, let me not go too far, but thank you. And congratulations to FCMP. So after that remark, and hoping that we can achieve that trend or even surpass it, because I want to reduce the other contributors from IOCs to 10% if possible. So I will just go straight to your, is it not? Yeah. I'll now talk about your presentation. Although my remark covers what my summary already. So I was very happy to see you demonstrate the 3 cycles. I know, but I just don't know the dates, but you have made me learn today. The first cycle of asset divestment was in 2020, 2000, yeah? Marginal fields. There are many, many companies. Maybe Tony will tell me how many people participated, but only few are in the book now. And I think there you see Seplat, which was platform. You will see Niger, what do you call it? Niger Delta Development, you see? And then, so few companies out of many survived. And some of those companies went ahead because of the experience they've gained. That's your presentation. I'm move ahead to the 2010. And they are not satisfied. They built more capacity. The IOCs now trust them because the IOC has still a lot of interest in gas, LNG. So even as they're giving up some of their assets, they want to ensure that you will be able to manage it and supply gas. Those people that moved to 2010 now played in 2020. And assets like ExxonMobil that makes over 200,000 is now being operated by Seplat. Renaissance, is a son or a daughter of consortium. It's a consortium, yeah, by FESI&P, ND Western, Aradel, and Watersmith. So one thing that I say that is common to these people who have made it very successful, they're from marginal field, they are now big producers by many standards. I was in Malaysia for 5 years. Shell Malaysia was producing at that time maybe 100,000. So for a company to be producing 50,000 and 100 and 200, it's a big player. So very soon, these companies will go out of Nigeria. I'm expecting to compete. Right. Now you say 35% of our total production in Nigeria is by indigenous companies, yeah? And that fits into the slide I showed, yeah? Yeah. So you're now talking about maintaining production, because one thing is you drill a well, you perforate, you complete, and you start producing. If you do nothing case, minimum decline rate will be about 10 to 15% in a year. So every time you want to keep your production, you must do something. And there are a few companies I know that have UADs, I mean, unappraised discovery of maybe 400 million scopes, resource volume, that have not drilled well. Companies like FESI&P would never have wasted time to drill this, and they're very well defined on 3D. So the point is that even in a producing field, you just can't keep producing. You must find a way to balance what you're taking. And many companies, many people don't want to drill. They just want low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit can never, ever make you to be a big player. So talking about production optimization, FESI&P, you know what it is to do redevelopment, and at the same time, exploration. Exploration is normally the first thing that goes off when I was in Shell, when the company is trimming down. Exploration budgets are always in jeopardy. So it's still very exciting for me that a brand new company like FESI&P will just agree to spend money upfront to shoot seismic. So that seismic underpinned the development of Madu and Songhai, where they are producing now with an FPSO. Without the 3D, it would have been suboptimal, the development, because you wouldn't have known the full extent of what you have. And that will be under development, under investment. That's value erosion. So the production optimization is sustained by redevelopment of the Songhai with your 3D and exploration, which Songhai has, Songhai 3, is that what you call it? 2, has now proven. This is, for me, what I call practice worth replicating. It's a gold standard. This aspect of 3D, even before you start making money, was first demonstrated by Shell in Bonga, the first deep water field in Nigeria. And Bonga was found on seismic in special studies. I was in special studies then. I can tell you without contradiction, Shola Adesanya did the study, and we saw Bonga from 3D spec data, which you buy from the government or who. And Shell went ahead to shoot 3D before drilling the first well. And that is that 3D that they used even in development, and the repeat seismic was done maybe 10 years after. So you can see what it is, as I call leadership responsive. If you find out the meaning, only such leadership can authorize this kind of bold investment. So what FESI&P did, for me, is something that should be emulated. So their production going down, exploration coming up, everything will balance. And then you see do more appraisal wells, probably more completions, so that you will keep maintaining your production and even make it higher. Otherwise, you will go off life in a very short time. There is no shortcut to it. So we are very happy. We've seen the results of Songhai. We've seen the well, the way when they started marginal discovery, well placement was not optimal. They drilled off structure and they didn't find much. With this 3D, they got a full picture and placed the well where it should be. And I talk about power of good seismic. I look at seismic, investment on seismic as front-end engineering. And I have been in a company where some people, initially, you just don't want to spend the money on front end, you're wasting time, and you start the project and you just keep correcting yourself. You keep going back because you did not do good front end. So as I liken seismic acquisition, especially 3D, high res, to front end engineering, there is no shortcut. It takes a little part of your project cost to get it right. So this is what I advise marginal field owners and those people aspiring to grow to big boys. Spend money on front end, please. It pays. For a prospect to have 70% pause, that's almost like a development well. And how did you do this? Because of the quality of seismic, this quantitative interpretation that was done on it, and the same thing that I said made Shell to shoot 3D seismic over Bonga when it was a lead, and they were yet to even buy the block from, but that gave them the confidence to bid for it and succeeded. And the discovery of Bonga, everybody knows, that made other companies come into Nigeria. Before Bonga was discovered, the geological model was dismal. Yeah, nobody thought you get sand and the toe thrust and things like that. That was all they never thought about these fold belts and things we saw. So seismic made it possible, good seismic. So I cannot overemphasize quantitative interpretation. We've been doing that. I think it still has value. So it increases the chance of success, the confidence level that you have of finding oil before you even start talk of commercial oil. You just can't go wrong. For some guy to find a gross sand thickness of nearly 1,000, it's only, and this almost, if you look at their prediction versus what they found, almost 100% match. Only good seismic can do this. So, in all, the presenter highlighted those factors clearly. But I'm saying that on top of those factors of technology, strong technical capacity, experience, everything, overarching factors for success and creating value is still, I think, responsive leadership and highly motivated workforce. Thank you. So I leave the floor now to other panelists to add to what I've said, either to add or to subtract.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for everyone, our audience at large. For First TMP, I want to say a big congratulations to them. Let's give them a round of applause. And like I told them the first time I was in the office to do a workstation review, I told them I don't get impressed so easily, but with them, technical competence, I tell you they have it. Let's clap for them. They really did a very nice job. I'm not here to make them feel too much good about themselves, but they've done a very good job. Now for us, I would say the first comment I'll make is about seismic. I've been a student of seismic for close to 3 decades now. I can tell you for free that when people come, especially those that are in the NOC here, you want to drill and you are bringing a 1984 data and you want us to approve that. 1984 is about 41 years ago. Now, if you look at the timeline of technology that has, that has evolved in that 41 years, no amount of reprocessing or processing that you can do on that data that will give you anything. It's just cosmetics. You are not doing anything. I tell them several times, and it seems Adeniyi doesn't want them to drill. It's not. It's just following due process when you want to do your work. It's good to be methodical. We are all scientists, and it takes time, it takes intentionality, as they have mentioned. It takes on of Niger Delta. And I say to you here in the room that we understand, you can't understand your father's land more than the other people. I don't want to mention it, would do. But we don't need to run away from it. So you need to understand the geology of Niger Delta with our technological know-how. And for us, I know we have all it takes if we really want to do the right thing. So for that 41 years, if you're looking at acquisition, you're looking at processing, even interpretation is gone a long way. For this Songhai, they don't even have gamma ray. You know, with gamma ray, you could do some derivative acoustic logs that will help you to do interpretation. So they don't even have it. So it's more like they were in the middle of ocean of uncertainty. And, you know, thank God, they swam to the shore. And it was really a very good success story. So I really want to say, we are here. I'm talking as Noims now. We are here to support you, but you really need to, we want to make sure that for you to make good business decision and return on investment, don't just think you could keep doing reprocessing or processing an old legacy data. 92 old data, 3D, even 3D has evolved a long time. We're in 2025 now, over 30 years. 3Ds has even evolved. And so if you don't get good data, even your QI, if you do quantitative interpretation, you are still working on the old data. So it's not. So spending a little more so that you get desired result, I think it's worth it. So that's what I would like to, you know, add to what Mr. Chairman has said. He said it all, honestly. And you know, when you are sitting beside Precambrian daddies, so that's all I want to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Adesanya. I'd just like to add that, I mean, just to make the phrase that in this industry, really, exploration is the base rock for growth. And you can't do exploration when you don't have quality seismic, just like she has said. But we would like to just use this opportunity to also thank NNPC through our asset team for the confidence they had in us. Okay, so this is a young company that has acquired assets. There are seismic data. There has been several wells in the field, but we were insisting on acquiring new seismic through our management, through our technical leadership. And this is NNPC, our joint venture partners, senior partners who have to bear 60% of the cost, and they were willing. Even when we had issues with funding, they were still all out there, ready to do some unconventional way of funding us and ensuring that we got this data, which has led to the level of success that we saw in Nei's presentation today. So it's really no mean feat when we keep thanking the joint venture partner, NNPC, through our asset team B3, for all the all the support, all the encouragement that they gave to us over the period of time. So it's another aspect that I want to put forward is that technical know-how, technical expertise that is put into it. So not only did we acquire seismic, we also then went to town to look at the regional, the sub-regional geology. So we extended our knowledge beyond just where we acquire seismic, just where we had the assets. We use competitive intelligence, of course, to get more knowledge across the shallow water basin, and extended our geology, the positional geology across the whole area. Got a very good understanding of where we are, and so we can understand where we want to go. So it's easy for us to say that our Madu is in trend with the other fields of this world, not to mention names. We can easily say that our Songhai is in trend with Anyala, and Anyala is in trend with several other fields in the area. And so it's easy for you to then say, I want to drill Songhai, and I give Songhai 70, 69%, or easily 70% POS, or geological chance of success. And we drilled, and of course, we found 100%, even more than 100%. So this is just the message I want to pass across. They have said it all, the chairman and the other panelists. Thank you very much.
Okay, with that done, we now throw it open to the floor for questions and answers. How do you? Somebody
There's someone that will hold the mic there.
somebody.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Presenter. And then first EMP for this. My name is Antonio Forma. I work with Halliburton. So my question is this. Very good presentation. Very good work. What are the two challenges you and your team encounter? That's technical challenges too, and then non-technical challenges too that you encounter. I know there are so many, but just these two that we can take home for some of us who might, want to get involved with what you've just done, and then so that we can avoid those challenges. So two technical, I'm not talking about the ones that you encountered, from the people that had the field initially and then gave it to you. And I mean, while you were reinterpreting, the two most challenges you encountered, technical and non-technical. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. I would say for me, and I think other members of the team that are present can allude to this, our major challenge had to do with data. I mean, for any maturation project that you're carrying out, your delivery or the output from that whole maturation is really hinged on the quality and the kind of data you have at your disposal. I'll give you an example. There was a mention of, deeper opportunities. And we knew from the end of well report that to reach the deeper opportunity, we would have to contend with some overpressure. And those that have been involved in overpressure studies will know that you need data for calibration. I mean, on a number of occasions, we went back to various stakeholders to try and get hold of that data, but we didn't get. So I would say for me, the challenge that we really faced had to do with data. But then we leveraged technology and, technical expertise from even more experienced professional colleagues to sort of like navigate some of those challenges. So it's all centered around data.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Oga Fidelis, and the first EMP presenter. My name is Wole Shebioba. I work for Petrodata TGS. Now, I'm so happy when I hear data, and we have seasoned people that know that data is the foundation of everything we are doing in the industry, right? But I know it's a challenge for indigenous companies to go and shoot seismic without good cash flow. And we have come up with a solution, and this is to NUIMS, right? You shot only 500 square meters. You brought in a vessel, right? If NUIMS can challenge, companies around, let's come together and do multi-client, right? If you shoot multi-client, it will not be challenging to other companies around to go the seismic way. I'm sure if you spend $50 million to acquire this data in multi-client mode, you won't do more than $5 million. And the model exists in the country. But what we've seen is people are so protective of their data that this is my data. But nature, God, does not restrict please, right? So I want to challenge Mrs. Adeniyi. Please, right? We can walk before these people get in there. We can meet with you, map out coordinates, and do multi-client, right? And we have a funding model for that. And this will really encourage the people that are dodging because they don't have the fund. And the other thing I want to add is I was involved in the data gathering for first EMP. And we have issues as custodian of data, right? We have a lot of data with us without coordinates because they were brought to us by engineers, right? You have acquisition, seismic acquisition without acquisition report, without QA/QC, right? It's useless, but if we were given by just engineers that store it, when they need to retrieve it, where are the coordinates that they don't know? It's somewhere in somebody's desk, right? I think we need to get into the QA/QC of data, and the company that got it right, that I've seen, that got it right from the beginning, is SPDC. There's emphasis on historical data, and you can trace data from the first block, the first company it was given to before all the change of name, OPL, PEA, or whatever. A lot of new geoscientists don't even know the name of the original data. All the data you are looking for, they are in this country. But like you said, Precambrian people like Oga Fidel are the only one that have and they will refer to it as OML, whatever. Oh yes, Reverend Indefo, yes. And Oga Olive, those are the people, and you need to go back and get historical information about the data. So all the data they are in this country, I can tell you, right? And that's just my comment. Thank you.
I know. Thank you so much, sir. Your first comment, I'll take it back to my principals and we'll surely work on it. Thank you, sir.
For the multi-client, yeah, to bring down costs. But can I just, Wale? Yes, Wale, but does this entail these blocks or your clients to be, their blocks to be contiguous, or it can be anywhere? Geologically, yeah, that's what I'm there. Because these people are isolated. So in terms of logistics, I don't know whether this cost cut or optimization will be, yeah.
Thank you. What we can allocated and unallocated blocks. We can acquire the data.
Okay. I expect it. Yes.
Thank you. My name is Sheyi Fatoke. I'm on my own. I just have a question and a comment. My comment is that thanks to the presenter and the work that was done and the seismic that was acquired. But please, no one should bear in mind that it's easy for First CMP to acquire seismic in shallow offshore. There are people on land, onshore, where there are houses, there are shrines, there are a lot of things that makes it extremely difficult and cost prohibitive to acquire seismic on onshore assets. But if they're able to come up with their old seismic, with a new way of looking at it and doing a bit more geology, I think they should still get approval to drill the well they to drill. My question to the presenter is a very nice presentation, but what is the big bang that led you to decide that you want to acquire the seismic? And how did you work out the cost of the seismic versus the reward that you will get?
Thank you very much, sir. That's a very good question. So I would like to draw my analogy from, let's say, the Holy Book. If the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do? If the so if the required frequency content is not represented in the data, then it's just going to be garbage in, garbage out. And when you do your value of information analysis, you would actually see that you're better off, putting in that front end investment, and it will help you de-risk a lot of things. It wasn't as if we didn't have some low-hanging fruits from, let's say, development project. But then we looked at it that for well placement, and we wanted to drill essentially horizontal wells. So we needed to have good quality seismic as a driver for even de-risking our well placements. So those were the factors that we considered, and I think the technical team, and we must also give some credit to our senior partners who reasoned with us and felt that that was the right course of action to take. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Just to add to what he said, Mr. Sheyi mentioned that some people that doesn't have money for the seismic could still use the whole seismic. Now I'm coming from the standpoint, from business standpoint. If you go that route, what's the whole essence of, using old seismic when you have option of using new seismic, even from what, sorry, sir, your name again, sir? Mr. Wale said, multi-client for cost effectiveness, that should be the way to go. So it doesn't stop the new people from using new seismic. Because if you're talking about, okay, in the onshore area where you have buildings and everything, before you even go drill, before you even do seismic acquisition at all, there'll be EIA, environmental impact assessment. You want to know whether that place is where they should actually go for. Yeah, you want to make money in the quickest, fast period. But then, what about if you put your money and you lose all? Because it happens. So why not take that due diligence to say, okay, let me put in some more, and then for a better return on investment. That's what I think it is. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Yeah, we have.
Sorry,
thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I crave the indulgence of the elders in the room, Reverend Defo, ex-president, Uncle Jim Orife, ex-president. I would like for us to acknowledge the role that NNPC played in actual funding. This is essentially more like the total funding of this project. When the chairman was talking about the challenges that companies will have for, even securing funding for this, for doing the seismic especially for a divested assets that supposedly has all of those kind of data, I happen to have had a long conversation with the CEO of this company, and he did tell me that, you know, unlike if, you know, we always knock NNPC for not doing this, for not doing that, but this is a case in which they came to the party and provided, you know, the funding for this more or less startup company at the time. So I think they deserve a round of applause. When I came in, I noticed that the presenter was giving, there was a slide on, and he was showing, you know, very pretty challenging line, you know, that I couldn't even determine what, you know, the layering was. And, you know, so I used to work for Chevron. I didn't know that we had that kind of poor data, but I wasn't a Texaco man. These are Texaco data, so you can blame them. I mean, so you can blame them. But the question I want to ask really is that, you know, there were, when you decided to shoot, there were specific asks you are making of the acquisition company. Can you share some of those asks with this room? Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for that question. I think in the course of my presentation, I showed some of the key challenges that we're trying to address with the improvements in data, and it's really centered around event continuity, structural definition, and we wanted, you know, a broader bandwidth, you know, from our data. So in achieving those objectives, of course, we had to do an illumination studies prior to the acquisition to help us, you know, determine what the optimal acquisition parameters would be. And that was the real gain from that illumination studies. And I think I have my exploration geophysicist in the house. If you could engage him maybe afterwards to get some more.
Okay. I hope that's satisfied. All right. The last question, please.
Thank you very much. Maoga Fidel, good afternoon again. And thanks very much, President, for a very good one. I came here to learn, and I've really learned. Two questions I have. Shegun Obilaja, Renaissance, also an explorer. Thank you. Two questions, really. The first one is that you have a lot of gas here. Was that expected? And there is still a reservoir that you have a down to. Are you confident that there is no oil rim at all? That's the first one when you go back. The second one is, I can see you still have some deeper targets to go for. What are the critical things that you think you must have before you go to those deeper reservoirs? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for those questions. I'll take the first one. The first question was, were we expecting gas? So thank you very much. I think one of the beauty of the gains from the acquisition was that we now had angle stack data to do, you know, QI evaluation. And from our QI results, of course, we knew we were expecting gas. That's one. And even if you look at we read some reports, and we had seen that, you know, the kind of source rock in that area is essentially gas prone. So we knew ahead of time that, you know, we were going to encounter gas-rich intervals. That's one. To your second question, you said, are we planning to do an appraisal or, okay, for the deeper opportunities, what are the things? Of course, I mean, we plan on going for those deeper intervals. There is plans in progress for that. Yeah, what fleet type? I think from the QI results too that we have done, we also expect those intervals to be gas rich from the studies carried out internally. I hope that answers your two questions. Okay. Thank you. That's why in this phase of drilling, we did not go for the deeper opportunities, because the rig that we have at our disposal is a 10K rig. In drilling,
let me just add to that. The rig we have actually has the capacity, once it is fitted with the right equipment, the BOP, to do the deep drilling. However, at this time, we have considered it more reasonable for us to do the shallow drilling or the drilling to the intermediate section first. Let's experience, like I did mention earlier on, the paucity of data for us to determine the pore pressure as we go deeper. We need to try to limit or reduce our uncertainties in terms of the pore pressure ranges that we are expecting. So we are carrying out more work on that, getting our well engineering section also prepared, because First E&P is an organic company. We do a lot of the things that we do in-house, even though we use consultants, external consultants to sort of QC what we do. So we are getting our well engineering section also ready to do the deep drilling, as well as getting data in exploration to streamline our uncertainties. So in the nearest future, you are going to be seeing us drill not just an appraisal well, but also a deep well that is going to test the deeper objectives.
Okay, thank you, Kunle. So that's the end. But one thing I just want to find out for your overpressure, we've had a study that shows that in each microstructure until, and I think we had that discussion, that helped us to drill Colo Creek deep after many years. Have you done a study? There's a study that exists that we did in collaboration with some of us, that shows that you do not, until you puncture the top overpressure, which is always represented by maximum flooding surface in each structure, microstructure, you do not hit hard overpressure. You will still be within the mile. And this, do you know where this MFS is located?
Yes, indeed. We've done a lot of study, but mind you, we are in the shallow offshore here now. It's not the onshore. So it's not the same as the onshore. We are in younger sediments, but we do have, a trend that tells us where the pressures are. We are just trying, as I said, to limit our uncertainties. Yes, manage our risk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, please let me go
Please,
ahead.
before we go, I would handle that from here. Before we go to online questions, I would like to recognize the presence of some of our fellows and past presidents of this association. We have here with us Chief MJ Orife, FNAP and past president. Yes, you are chief, sir. We also have Mr. Ajibola Oyebanji, FNAP and past president. Thank you for coming. We have with us Dr. Anthony Ofoma, FNAP. Thank you for coming. And our own Mr. Tony Akiosho, FNAP. Thank you for coming. And online, we have with us Dr. Abimbola Duropiton, FNAP. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much. So we have only 2 questions online. And number 1 is good presentation. Please, what's the processing route for your newly acquired seismic data? That's the first question. And please, because we are running out of time, I'm sure you'll do justice to that question quickly. Thank you. Can you answer that before we go to the next question?
So I'm not the processing geophysics expert, but what I can say is, I think in the course of the NAPI conference, there will be a lot of papers, more technical papers in this regard. So to the person asking the question, my processing geophysicist is in-house. You should look out from a paper from him in that regard.
Thank you. That's a good one. So if you want to know, make sure you make yourself available at the technical presentation during the conference. Thank you very much. So the second question is from Julius Adesu. Thanks, Adeniyi, for the presentation. Please, I am just curious about the GCOS of 69% in relation with the average GCOS recorded with drilling and commercial success in Niger Delta over the past years. Was your well campaign classified as an exploratory or ordinary appraisal well? Congratulations to First E&P NMPCL JV. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that's a very, I expected that question. But I made mention of the fact that a well had been drilled in the past. And the good thing from that well is that key elements of the petroleum system was already de-risked. So we knew we had reservoirs, we knew we had top seals, and even when we looked at the seismic, one of the gains from the seismic, we saw indications of gas chimneys. Now, I've read a number of papers which shows you that, in such areas where you have chimneys, your chance of success really goes high. So all you needed to do was just look for intervals where you are not expecting leakage and to see whether they are amplitude supported. So I believe that based on, all these facts, I mean, we got questions in that regard as we matured the opportunity, but I think the result proves the fact that, our chance of success is 100%. So thank you very much.
So let's put our hands together once more for the presenter.
Before you, no, thank you very much. I just want to recognize another fellow with us here, Dr. Karim Akintunde FNAP. Thank you for joining us, sir.
The president-elect authorized me to close this technical meeting. I want to thank everybody that participated. When we started, we were just so few, but right now the hall is full. So I just feel very happy that I did not chair an empty hall. Thank you very much, and I hope that for those people that want to be like First CMP or Seplat, we have this presentation and the discussion has shown you what you should do. So my advice is other players should borrow the model template from these guys. Success factors, key success factors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. So at this point, I want to, on behalf of the NAPE and our president who is online with us, let's thank you to our panelists, our chairman and panelists for the insightful discussion and your good responses to the questions asked. Thank you very much. And I believe that when we call on you next time, you always make yourself available. Thank you very much. First CMP again, thank you. Thank you. And I believe that you present, apart from your processing, presentation on processing, you also look for a way of getting this presented again at the NAPE conference. It's a rich paper. Thank you very much. Yes, this is really good. Thank you. So let's have a joint picture after. Okay, presentation of gifts. Okay, so our president would have done this, but I will do it on his behalf. Please bring, yeah. Okay, all right. I think I should start with the presenter. So thank you very much on behalf of our president and the entire NAPE conference. NAPE ESCOs, I present this to you. Thank you for the good presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for making yourself available every time. Thanks for your support. Yes, I'm to the chairman. Thank you very much, sir. So let's have just, and I invite our past president. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
PS, announcement, please.
Okay. Confirm you can hear me. Tunde, can you put up the slides, please?
Please, project your voice, please.
Okay. Okay. We continue announcement now for everybody to know what's coming on. The next thing we have coming up for us will be our Young Professionals Technical Series. It's planned to hold on the 23rd of August by 10 a.m. And that's the title of the presentation that will be shared on that day. So make a time to join in for this interesting session. I mean, it's not just for the young professionals, other seasoned professionals, senior professionals can as well join in to gain knowledge in this topic. The next slide, please. Yeah, so we ramping up preparations towards our flagship event, which is the NAPE conference. The icebreaker team is still open to receive essays. To receive essays, it's still ongoing. Send in your, if you're interested, you send in your essay so that you would be considered for the top 3 prizes, as it were. So the deadline for that is 30th of September. Check out our flyers for details on how to submit your essays. The next slide, please. The NAPE NMGS conference, mini conference is here. So make plans if you intend to attend. Make plans so that you make yourself available and attend. But I think there will also be online streaming of the conference. Next slide. Yes, so this is a very big moment for us. We are almost there for our NAPE election. As we all know, we have 3 major positions that are open. We've had meet the candidate session where we've heard all of our contestants tell us what they intend to do if they are elected to these key positions. And so that's what the candidates are, what we are showing here again, for the office of the vice president. We have 3 candidates: Dr. Wilson Osung, FNAPE, Mr. Emmanuel Egbele, and Mr. Temitope Adelaja. These persons are seeking your support to elect them. One person will be elected into this position. So the next position will be the office of the president-elect. So if you move on to the next slide. And that is Dr. Antonio Forma, FNAPE, FNMGS, is contesting for the position of president-elect. Please give him your support. I'm sure you heard him on the manifesto day. The next slide, please. This is for the office of the University Assistant Program Chairman. Mr. Afolabi Fatumbi is contesting for this position. Again, please, if you heard him and you are confident that he will deliver on his promises to NAPE, please go ahead and give him his support. The election will start on the 1st of September. So let's all be prepared, and note that please, election will be only for NAPE members that are financially up to date. So this is an opportunity to quickly go and ensure that you are not found wanting in that space, so that you can vote accordingly. Next slide, please. Our conference, 43rd conference, is here. Like I said, it's going to happen between the 9th to the 13th of November. Echo Hotel and Suites is the venue for this event. We are all ramping up. Every subcommittee is ramping up their activities, and that will be shared publicly once we tidy up the publicity, flyers, and all of the information that you will need to ensure a smooth running of our conference. Next slide, please. Yeah, so registration, top on our list. We cannot plan for people we don't know are coming. Help us to go on and register for this conference, so we know the actual numbers that are coming in to attend. Sponsorship opportunity is still out there, open for companies that want to have their name plates on NAPE platform. Come in and support us in way of by way of sponsorship, so that your name is on NAPE's platform for your publicity. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is, I've said this, go and pay your dues so you can take advantage of election, of conference, and all the good things that NAPE has to offer us. Next slide, let me see. Okay, so I would like to wrap it up.
I want to break it.
I would like to
okay, yes.
Can I finish, please? I would like to wrap it up with the just concluded NAPE at 50 celebration. We had a big day. Thanks to everyone who supported us. And we have a lot of materials that we will share post this event. And so look out for that space. And yeah, thank you. That's all I can say about that. And look out on that space to get more information and relive the moment for those who may have missed it or those who attended it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, PS. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And I would like to say thank you to everybody, both those in this and those online, for joining the technical session today. And I believe that it was really an insightful one. You gained from the presentation. That's the reason we call it technical and business meeting. Thank you very much. I will look forward to having you next month. We have another session, same room, here and online. To First TMP, thank you very much once again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You did not only sponsor the program, because by sponsoring, you make launch available, you also came with a smart paper. Thank you very much. And many of us have taken, two things from what you've done and work with it. Thank you. So this time for launch, I have 2 serving points. Is it 2? 3 serving points is for the fellows and the presidents. And the other points are, one is in that other room there, and there's another one behind. Let's quickly go and have lunch. And as we prepare for September and October technical meeting, let's also prepare for the conference, our annual conference that is coming up from 10th of November to 13th of November. We can't wait to have you all there. Thank you and have a good day. God bless.